Hey Magic fans, we're back. This is your captain speaking. Time for round 2 of Play Booster Box Value. See if it went up. Did it go down? It went down. And is the set still good? Is it viable? Will we have a failure like Markov Manor, or are we on our way to our first good set of the year? So, don't forget, comment, like, subscribe. The button's right here. Just touch it. Once we get to 100, once we get 100,000, once we get to 1,000 subscribers, we're gonna start doing some giveaways. You can be a member. That'll give you access to some free giveaways and extra entries into the giveaways that I will be doing for free. So that's cool as well. Links in the description down below. You can buy all these little cards from all my box openings and some from my collection, mainly my box openings. Down below to help support the channel. It does all that good jazz. Keeps us sponsor free. Unless you're ShamWow, you're still welcome. Now, in case you don't know the rules, let's go over it real quick for those in the cheap seats who've never been here before. It's got to be $2 or more for me to count it. Otherwise, it's a $1 bulk. Also, with this one, what the hell's the camera doing? Anyway, with these, any rares in here I didn't count unless I know they're worth 2 or more. I didn't count them at all. So the value will be a little lower. Also, if I counted all the rares that were in this slot that were less than $1 or less than $2, it would probably show an unreasonably high price because most of them are 50 cents or less. So I didn't want to go that route. I wanted to give you a more clean number. So, speaking of this, we'll start off with this side over here. So, lots of good stuff. Crackle with Power, Force of Vigors. Force of Vigors, Crackle with Power for days. We got a foil Cruel Ultimatum. It actually wasn't worth anything, but I think it's worth $2. I'm pretty sure eBay will too because, look at that thing. It's fucking cool. Foil Reanimate. This is one of the rares I did add in there because it's $5. Grindstone, Ley Lines, other good stuff. Force of Vigors for days. The Archive Trap, non-foil is not worth anything. The foil one's like $5, so that's cool. Decent amount of money there. We'll start up with the rares. We got foils. Probably the coolest foils that we really hit were, we got a Sato. That's really about it. This is a counter spell. It's actually pretty good. So, nothing real big. Just a couple. Here, like I mentioned, $2 or more. It gets its own number. Otherwise, it's bulk. Lots of good cards in here. You can see right there, there's a Sato hanging out on top. There's a pimp called Slickshot. He's in there at 16. Lots of good rares worth some money. Mythics. Oh boy. So, we got quite a few foil mythics in this case. We got 4. Unfortunately, these were the first 2, and I was a little salty about it. And then these little fellas came along. Yeah, delish. So, good spread. If these were different mythics, literally if these were any other mythic, they'd be worth more. But they're actually $4 or $5 as foils, so not terrible. All in all. In the mythic slot, we got plenty of good stuff. Plenty of Billies, Okos, lots of Jaces. Several Terror of the Peaks, a couple Archangel of Tithes, Final Showdowns. We got a real good mix this time. Tiny Bones. I forgot about that. That goes over here. We got a great mix of mythics. So really happy with this. Special guest. We got quite a few. In 6 boxes, we hit 5 special guest cards. That seems kind of high. I'm just going to put that out there. The best one we got, though, Desert's like $5. We got Stoneforge Mystics, 25, floating around there. Good. And then we have the Vault cards. We got a couple Tyrants, Abolishers, some loot, a little GTA action. Do you believe this Rest in Peace is like 25 cents? Like, really? Anyway, moving on. Lotus Rings, we got 1 sword. Like I said, a couple more Tyrants. 1 Tarnation Vista. Kind of, a little weird there. But anyway, is what it is. So, all in all, good spread. Hit a little bit of everything. Real happy about that. Other than the fact that during the videos, I dropped my cards like 12 times. I'm stacked up everywhere over here. Plenty of lands, land foils, and what have you. Art cards. In this one, we managed 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. So almost 2 a box. There's one box that only had 1. But honestly, like I mentioned before, the art cards need to go away, or they need to be textured foil or something to make them special when they're signed. Because the way we're going, nobody gives 2 shits. I mean, do you give 2 shits? I don't give 2 shits. I'm lucky to get 1 shit. Anyway, all that said, let's take a look at the numbers. So, we have boxes here and here. 3 boxes. The columns, mythics, rares. We have the poster. These cards here are in this slot along with the vault cards together. And any special guest cards went into the regular mythic slot, and these are just all the rares. So, first box was kind of weak, and I talked about that during the video. Only came up to 110. However, that was the weakest. Sorry about the camera. That was the weakest box out of everything. After that, we got to 146, 163, a 140, a 163, and a 158. Did really well. Overall, 146 box EV per box. Still very high and a lot higher than what we're used to seeing. I mean, the box EV currently is as good as the box price, and the box price isn't selling for 145. It's selling for a little less than that, but after tax and all those hooplas, it's probably 145-ish, 150. So it's actually the right number, actually a little higher than normal. And as you can see, a lot of that value sometimes comes from the vault slot, but a lot of it is coming from the rares. Like half the box value almost is coming from the rare slot, and that is amazing. Hands down good. And if you get some good mythics, 75, 83, you pay for the box, right? Because over here, 27, 20, you took $29 off of this. It's 150 something, pays for the box. Like this is bonus. Same here, $27, 131, pays for the box. This is a bonus. So everything's going real good. And if we compare this to our previous 6 boxes when it first came out, 184, 140, 188, 181, 994, 177 to a 177 average value. I mentioned that because everything was in high demand because the set just came out, that these prices are probably high. And I mentioned this would probably have a 20% reduction, which, 17 times 2 is 34. So basically $34 off of this would be 143. Come down here, 146 is the current price. I am close. And to be fair, it's only been about a week or 2. This price will probably still dip from here and probably go a little lower than 46. And we'll go take a look at that and visit that later after, probably 30 or 60 days to see how the set's really doing when we revisit it, to see if the cards hold their value, any cards are spiking, cards are dropping, whatever the case may be, to see how it's going. But currently, this is a powerhouse set. Cards are holding great value. I mean, you've got these 2 special slots. This has replaced the list slot, basically, making the packs valuable again. We talked about how bad the list slot was. Like, this is just great. Like, you get more of them, and they're good, and some are reprints, some are not. Same with a special guest. You can say the special guest is the list spot if you wanted to. We can go that route. Still, better hits because we get cards of value that are mythics, and they're borderless, and they're new art. Pick whichever one you think should be replacing the list. Probably this one because it's got the least amount of cards. I'm good with either. It's still better. So hopefully the list doesn't come back. Hopefully we get to keep special guest, and we get something like this every set. Because here's what I fear: the next set that comes out in standard, if there's not this in the set, there's going to be some problems justifying 145, I think. Now, I know on the sheet, I just showed you that these didn't always make up enough of a value to make it bad. But it will drag the value down if they're not there. Because there are some of them, as you can see on this list, that were pretty high, $69. If that wasn't there, this would be less than $100. So something like this needs to be in every set, along with a good made set to make sure that the set value's up there. This is basically Mystic Archive from Strixhaven, the cards have almost no value except for the select few that are good. So, half a dozen 160 other, whatever. So, all that said, guys, seems to be holding up. Till next time, be kind. Hope to see you crossing the game table. Later, players. Tiny Bones is still sexy. Who's a cute little fella? Who is he? Who's a cute little fella?